Hello, so today we are going to do a Leetcode challenge, April 10 Leetcode challenge. So it's a baseball game called baseball game. So we are keeping score for a baseball game with some strange rules. Game consists of several rounds where the scores of past rounds may affect future round scores. Okay. Let's see. So we have baseball game here, and basically we have some rules. Scores of past rounds affect future rounds. In what way though? At the beginning of the game, you start with an empty record. You are given a list of string ops where ops I is the ith operation you must apply to the record and is one of the following. So we start out with empty records, and then we have ops I operations to apply to record, okay, where we can either record a new score x, record a new score that is the sum of the previous two scores, or D, which is record a new score that is double the previous score. Okay, so we don't need to worry about like an operation not possible to be performed, essentially. Record a new score that is double the previous score, and then invalidate the previous score, which means removing it from the record. It's going to always be a previous score. So basically our operations can be either add x, some previous two records, double previous record, or remove previous record, right? So this would be C, this is D, and this is plus, and this is X. And what we want is return sum of our record. Okay. So let's take an example. Let's take a look at the first example here, which is we have these operations, right? And so the first one is x equal to 5. And so at this point we would have just 5. And then this is x because it's a number. And so this would mean we add 5 and 2. And then we have a c, which means we want to remove the previous record. So we have just 5. And then we get a D, which means we record a new score that is double the previous one, so now we have 5 and 10. And then after that we get plus, which means we need to sum 5 and 10, and then add it. So we have this. And then at the end we want to sum them, so it's 15 plus 15, which is 30. Yeah, so that makes sense. So basically just looping through the operations and then doing exactly a simulation of what's being asked here. So yeah, let's do that. Let's see here. We have at most 1000, so that's reasonable. At least two previous. Okay, so yeah, I think what we can do is just have records be some sort of a list, and then we could just go through the operations, right? So if how can we check if digit Python? Yeah, I think okay, there is digit. So if it's digit, then we should just add it, right? Otherwise, if the operation is equal to C, we are just going to map it to each one of them, and then else, which means it's a plus. Or I think it's easier to just do else if. I think this should be easier. So we can do this, and then if yeah, last else is just, we know it's a digit, so something like this. Okay, so for C, what should we do? For C, we want to remove the previous record. And so I think in Python this can be just delete either this, or we could do, I think, records pop. So one thing I can check. So let's say we have this and we do a pop. And yeah, that removes. So we can actually just do records.pop. Otherwise, we want to double the previous record. So we want to just append records, the last one, multiplied by 2 to double it. And then for plus, we want to sum the previous records and add them. So one thing here, if I initialize a again, a minus 1 is the last element, a minus 2 is the previous one, the one before that. So that's what we can do here. So we can just add these two. Now at the end, we want to just return sum of records. Here we want to make this int. Should submit. Okay, that passes. Okay, so now let's quickly take a look at, yeah, in terms of time complexity, first, this is just O of n, such that n is the number of operations. We also are maintaining records, so that of n time and space overall. Okay, so let's see if we can take a look at the discuss section and see if we have a different way of doing it. Okay, stack makes sense, I think, yeah. Let's take a look at this one. Okay, let's see. Yeah, this is pretty similar to my solution, so we can skip it. Okay, so this is using a stack, so we can easily pop. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Linked list. Linked list, the only advantage I can see is it's easy to remove the last element, maybe, but I don't think it's worth it, yeah. Yeah, it's a straightforward problem. This should be good enough. Yeah, thanks for watching and see you on the next one. Bye.